Quite incredible. What a Saturday we've had in the tournament. We thought that the afternoon game gave us one to be on the edge of our seats with the last over finish and a flurry of sixes to take the chasing team over the line. Well, what AB de Villiers did, a much more compact version of that, was shown by Akshar Patel as he takes Delhi Capitals over the line in what was a fine game to watch towards the end at Sharjah between the Delhi Capitals and the Super Kings. It gives the Capitals two more points, and it does really give a strong stuff in the gut for MS Dhoni's side. On Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 timeout powered by Dell. Ajit Agarkar is here. It's not been a good day for bowlers defending scores, Ajit.
It's always tough. I mean, you could still give them a little bit more, or if you want to be harsh with bowlers in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but in Sharjah it's so hard. It's difficult. It was a good pitch as well. They'll see, again, like the first game, seemed like they pulled it back and they were in control. But it's such a difficult ground when there are set batsmen and good batsmen in that it's difficult to defend.
Yeah, let's just talk about that last over call now. We know from MS Dhoni's words that Bravo was off the field and not fit enough to bowl. The choice was between Karan Sharma and Jadeja. Do you think he made the right call?
Well, clearly not. But but we've got the we've we hindsight. It's a beautiful thing for us. The captain makes a gut call at that point. The one thing I'd say is, I mean, Jadeja had bowled what, just one over till then, and Karan Sharma had bowled three. So you could see who he clearly trusts a bit more in those conditions. But it would have been a huge gamble. A leg spinner. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni is known to take gambles. So he probably went for the safer option on the experienced Jadeja, where he thought he might get away with it. Didn't quite. I mean, Akshar Patel made sure that Delhi Capitals continue their strong form, and this was a special victory for them. I think it was a victory against a lot of the odds. It was tough most of their innings for them to chase that score. They'll be very satisfied.
Yeah, let's just talk about Akshar Patel here. I mean, it's not, I'm guessing, the easiest thing. We haven't seen too many Indian batsmen or any batsmen come in and expect to go, tee off when they're not hot without having actually had a few balls to just get their eye in and to do that sort of job. You've got the batsman who's hot at the other end, and you need to hit a couple of sixes back to back, otherwise the game's getting away. It's a special skill that certain players are developing now.
Helps when you have a left-arm spinner bowling to you, I'm sure. But the pressure is no different, whether it's a left-arm spinner, leg spinner, or a quick bowler, or someone who bowls well at the death. It's still the shot that you need to play, and it's very difficult because under pressure you can react differently. So that's why I said, I mean, it's a special effort. I mean, there was a guy on 100, again a special innings from Dhawan, who didn't quite hit that big shot in that last over. So for someone new to come to the crease and do that must give him a lot of satisfaction. I think MS Dhoni did it to him once in the last over 2 IPLs back. So he's returned the favor now to CSK.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed that, Akshar Patel, after putting in a good shift with the ball too. Just look at that chase, Ajit, and it seemed like a rather peculiar chase. You had Dhawan, who was looking like he was in the most incredible form of his life, and that even if he wanted to get out, he couldn't. And they looked like they had that chase at 10 and over, there and thereabouts. And suddenly, towards the last couple overs, it was just getting away from them. Can you just explain that last period of play?
Yeah, also the wickets, isn't it? I mean, at crucial stages, they kept losing wickets, whether they lost Iyer or they lost Stoinis. Stoinis again looked very good. And then Carey couldn't quite get going. And they lost. It was good that one batsman. I mean, normally in a chase of 180, if a guy gets 100, you invariably get there with small contributions from people. This went right down to the wire. But Dhawan was there to hold one side. So it kept like CSK kept getting back because of the wickets, and it'll always happen. 180 is a fair amount of runs to get, and they needed someone like an Akshar's cameo at that point, and they got it at the right time. I mean, okay, it helped that Bravo wasn't on the field. Might have been a different story, or might have been a different topic that we were discussing this game on of how CSK defended. But it showed that perhaps they didn't get enough runs. At the end of the day, it was still a good pitch. And one batsman's innings made a difference with a couple of cameos for Delhi Capitals, and it was enough.
Yep. I mean, look back at that innings though from Shikhar Dhawan. As good as it was a fortuitous one. It was a charmed innings that he had. Dropped on 25, 50, and 79, Ajit, and even add to that another half chance of Shane Watson in between those, and signs of an aging team at times, or do you still expect most of those chances to be taken?
I think some things that coming straight to you has nothing to do with age. You just got to have good hands. Yeah, like you said, maybe they liked his innings so much that they didn't want him to get out. And these kind of things cost you in a game. You know, if you drop catches, doesn't matter whether they are. We've seen some spectacular pieces of fielding throughout this tournament, but if you drop catches, at some stage it's going to come and bite you. And they drop some easy ones. I mean, that one of that Raidu dropped,
Yeah.
that is at this standard. And look, dropping catches is part of the game. It happens. All great fielders drop catches, but when it costs you, you feel that much worse when you go back in the dressing room. And the fielding certainly cost Chennai today.
All right, let's get into our 5 point review. We'll just recap some of these thoughts in case you missed some of that game. I don't think you would. It was a thoroughly entertaining game from whichever way you look at it. So let's go into our 5 point review and start with Shikhar Dhawan. The absence of Rishabh Pant and Shimron Hetmeyer and losing a Shreyas Iyer. He's managed to anchor an innings or anchor a chase, Ajit, at a strike rate of 170, 180 quite seamlessly. Some knock.
Yeah, seems to get better as the tournament's gone on. I think started a bit slowly, but at the moment, and the best part about this innings was, in spite of losing wickets, he carried on with the same sort of or rhythm or form that he's shown in the last few games, which is not an easy thing to do, because the first thing you do as a batsman is try and build a partnership. He did build a partnership with Shreyas initially, a short one, but he was still the aggressor. And when you lose a couple of early wickets, it's a hard thing to do. So that augurs really well for Delhi. I think, yeah, and he's the guy who can play at that strike rate. What's 170, almost 175 strike rate today in a chase, which is pretty special. So the good part is, in spite of losing wickets, Delhi could bat at that tempo, and it's not an easy thing to do. So his form, a huge positive going forward for them.
Yes, we talk about the chances and the drop catches and also bring up the point of view, which MS Dhoni said wasn't much, but maybe just enough in that second innings. Just thoughts on CSK's fielding effort and the conditions, whether they contributed.
Perhaps a little bit. Look, if it's a little bit greasy and dewy, it's never easy. I don't think as a fielding unit you give those excuses when you come off. I mean, there are other times when you benefit. It's not easy, but some of those catches or some of those misfields or sloppiness were pretty straightforward things. It happens in a game, but when it costs your team, you feel that much worse when you look back on that game. And any professional cricket player will want to take those chances, and it's no different with CSK. As much as you might say the conditions started getting a little bit tougher, the pitch was good. That was the thing. I mean, even when CSK finished their innings, I didn't think it was a big enough score, and it eventually showed. And if you give some chances to the opposition, makes their life a lot easier.
Akshar Patel, the standout spinner from both teams on the day, and scored in 5 balls, nearly as many runs as he conceded in 4 overs. That's a pretty good day for him.
Yeah, and not the first one that he's had in this tournament. It's an incredible, almost one of those players who slips under the radar, just keeps doing his job. Might not get all the accolades that some of the other members of the team gets, but this is a match-winning performance. I mean, it might sound silly, but I would actually give him man of the match today's game. I mean, there's a guy who's got 100 who's clearly got you over the line, but 4 overs for just 20 odd and 21 of 5 at the end, when the chips were down. It's as good as Shikhar Dhawan's performance. Let's put it that way. Maybe not man of the match, but it's on par with what Shikhar Dhawan did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without that little cameo, may well have fallen short, Delhi Capitals. But just as we also look back at the decision to bowl Jadeja in the 20th, and the fact that Dhoni would have liked perhaps the extra bowling option today, he played Kedar Jadhav and dropped the bowler. No Dwayne Bravo, but just looking at that decision of bowling Jadeja in the 20th, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, generally, MS Dhoni has always been a little bit of a gambler when making his decision on the field. Today, he went for a safer decision in the experienced Jadeja. The fact that he only bowled him 1 over till then tells you what he thought Jadeja offered. So a little bit surprising, but understandable, because you went for experience more than that left field sort of call of Karan Sharma, who would actually bowl 3 overs in this innings. So while you won't question it, MS Dhoni is not known always for taking those safe decisions. We always sort of give him credit about a bold decision on the field, if you like. Went for the safe fun today, and it didn't quite work out for them. It's a tough one. Look, they got Kedar Jadhav as a batsman, but I don't think that makes a difference because you don't count for injuries during a game. If Bravo doesn't get injured, he bowls that last over, and maybe CSK cross the line. So those things happen in a game. Injuries you can't really count on. Those are part and parcel of the game. But he was unfortunately left with no other choice than go for experience.
And finally, as we just look back at the first innings, in spite of that late flurry from Jadeja and Rayudu, did CSK still fall about 15 runs or so short of a pass score, of a winning score?
In hindsight, for sure. The one thing, when they finished their inning, it looked like a really good score because they got there. It certainly gave them a chance, and it was more than a chance. If they'd taken their catches, they probably would have won that game by 10 runs. So it wasn't a bad score. That finish that they wanted in their batting innings, CSK did get that with Jadeja and Raidu, so they would have been happy. Even though I always felt it wasn't a winning score, uh, but it was a really good chase from Delhi, and they took their chances when CSK gave them those opportunities, especially Dhawan. He made sure that he made CSK count. So they were perhaps 10 short for that pitch, but from where they were in their batting innings and to where they got to 179, they would have been quite happy. I would have, again, without Bravo's injury, they perhaps would have defended that. But all credit to Delhi Capitals tonight.
All right, so that is a wrap. Thank you very much to Ajit Agarkar, and he's got a game to focus on now. His day is not over. It's Newcastle, perhaps in an hour or so. I've got the last 10 minutes or so at the other end of Manchester to look at. So let's wrap this up and look forward to a Sunday in sport. Big couple of points for the Capitals that just reinforces their challenge to finish in the top two. And as far as CSK are concerned, that's now looking quite bleak for them. With Rajasthan Royals going down today, both teams now with just 3 wins out of 9 and 6 points. They play each other on Monday, as it turns out, Chennai and Rajasthan. So that becomes an absolutely essential game if they are to still keep their tournament alive. It's still getting away from them if you look at that points table. Double header tomorrow. Do join us 3 p.m. IST for build up to the game between Hyderabad and Kolkata. Manish Patavia will be with Tom Moody, and of course we'll pick things up after that game and looking ahead to the Punjab Mumbai one in between both matches as well on Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.